Emperor Haile Selassie. He also called the Lion of Judah, Emperor Haile Selassie, a name synonymous with power, Pan-Africanism, and Rastafarianism. But how did this man come to be so influential, and what was his legacy in Ethiopia and the world? Tafari Makonnen was born on July 23, 1892, in Ejersa Goro village near Harar, Ethiopia. His father, Ras Makonnen, ruler of Harar and most respected general of Menelik II, by defeating the Italians at the Battle of Adwa and secure Ethiopia's independence, and his mother, Woizero Yeshimabet Ali. As a young boy, Tafari was sent to live with his uncle, Lij Tafari Makonnen. It was here that he received his early education from a succession of private tutors. One of these tutors was a member of the Ethiopian nobility named Blata Gabrig Ziaber. The lessons went beyond mathematics, history, and religion. This tutor taught the young prince about loyalty, duty, and the expectations that came with being part of the Ethiopian royal family. When Tafari turned 12, he was summoned by Emperor Menelik II to the imperial court in Addis Ababa. At the court, he lived under the watchful eyes of his mother and other nobles while continuing his studies with the renowned educator at Seda Ayanu. But there was more to life at the court than books. Tafari was also learning about the politics and intrigues of the era. He witnessed firsthand the tensions between the old guard, the nobility that had supported his father against the Italians, and the new power brokers who had risen during his father's reign. In 1908, Tafari became the first Ethiopian prince to receive military training at the brand new Harar Military Academy. The academy was established to modernize the Ethiopian army, which had become a ragtag force of diverse ethnicities following the victory at Odua. It was here that Tafari began to cultivate his ideas about Pan-Africanism. The belief that all people of African descent shared a common bond that transcended national boundaries. But it wasn't all smooth sailing for the young prince. In 1911, Tafari's uncle, Otto Fitarari Gaber, accused his mother of plotting to overthrow the emperor and install Tafari as a puppet ruler. This accusation led to a rift in the royal family and forced Tafari to leave Ethiopia for some time. He spent a few months in exile in Djibouti, contemplating his future and honing his military skills. Upon his return to Ethiopia, Tafari was given a noble title, Ras, meaning prince. However, his relationship with his mother remained strained due to her ongoing feud with his uncle. By 1916, Tafari had become an adult, but the complex web of alliances and rivalries within the Ethiopian court was threatening to engulf him. In 1917, the rebellious province of Eritrea attempted to break away from Ethiopian rule and align itself with the British. Tensions were high, and there were fears of a wider war. Tafari found himself caught in the middle of these conflicts. In February 1918, the situation escalated when forces loyal to Tafari's mother attacked the city of Dessie, located in the northern province of Tigray. The attack was led by her ally, Ras Kassa, a powerful noble with his own ambitions for the throne. Tafari, seeing an opportunity to assert his authority and protect his own interests, rallied troops to counter the attack. The clash between Tafari's forces and those loyal to the empress resulted in a decisive victory for Tafari at the Battle of Anchihoy. This victory not only established his military prowess, but also earned him the respect and support of many key figures in the Ethiopian nobility. By now, the rivalry between Tafari and his uncle had cooled, and they formed an alliance to deal with the threat posed by Ras Kassa. However, just as the tides seemed to be turning in their favor, disaster struck. On December 1918, Emperor Menelik II died after a long reign. The news spread like wildfire through Ethiopia and Addis Ababa. With the emperor's demise, the power vacuum created a frenzy of activity at the court. Nobles maneuvered, forming alliances and making claims to the throne. Amidst this chaos, Tafari was proclaimed the new emperor and took the title Haile Selassie. At this point, it's important to understand the context of Ethiopia's internal politics and the external forces that were at play. Following Emperor Menelik's death, Haile Selassie faced significant challenges. There was no clear heir and rival claimants to the Solomonic throne. Additionally, Italy's attention was focused on Ethiopia, hoping to capitalize on internal instability to fulfill their long-held ambitions of empire in Africa. Meanwhile, Britain, France, and the League of Nations were closely monitoring the situation, each trying to influence the outcome to their advantage. In this volatile environment, Haile Selassie had to demonstrate strong leadership, strategic thinking, and political acumen to secure his position on the throne and safeguard Ethiopia's territorial integrity. Despite these difficulties, Haile Selassie's coronation on November 1919 marked the beginning of a new era in Ethiopian history. He was not only the new emperor, but also the head of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. During the coronation ceremony held at the Cathedral of St. Mary of Zion, Haile Selassie took the traditional oath to uphold the Solomonic traditions and protect the Ethiopian people while consolidating his power in Ethiopia. Haile Selassie's attention was drawn to the plight of Africans across the continent who were enduring the hardships of colonial rule. His inauguration speech addressed this issue, stating, "It is better to die on your feet than to live on your knees." This became a rallying cry for Africans yearning for freedom. Following his coronation, Haile Selassie set about modernizing Ethiopia. He initiated wide-ranging reforms that touched every aspect of Ethiopian life, from education and healthcare to agriculture and industry. In 1924, he established the Ethiopian Constitution, which outlined a system of government based on European models, complete with a parliament and a judiciary. However, this constitution was not imposed on the populace. Instead, Haile Selassie convened a representative assembly known as the Tata Iyasu, which drafted the constitution after extensive public debate. This participatory approach made the constitution more acceptable to the people of Ethiopia. Education was another area where Haile Selassie's reformist agenda was evident. He recognized the importance of an educated citizenry in nation building and set about improving the quality of education in Ethiopia. In 1908, he founded the first modern Ethiopian school in his hometown of Ambosel. This was later expanded into a full-fledged academy, laying the foundation for a new generation of Ethiopian intellectuals. Healthcare was not neglected either. Haile Selassie established the first modern hospital in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa. He also introduced a comprehensive health insurance program, a rarity in a country that was still largely agrarian. Haile Selassie's efforts to modernize Ethiopia extended to the economy as well. He encouraged the growth of small businesses and introduced new agricultural technologies to increase productivity. He also established the National Bank of Ethiopia to regulate the currency and oversee the country's financial system. These reforms were not without their critics. Some members of the Ethiopian nobility who benefited from the old ways felt threatened by the changes. Moreover, Haile Selassie's efforts to centralize power in the hands of the monarchy rather than the nobility were seen as a challenge to the traditional power structure. However, despite these challenges, Haile Selassie pressed ahead with his modernization campaign. He knew that the only way to secure Ethiopia's independence and prosperity was to transform the country from a collection of feuding fiefdoms into a modern, unified state. One of the most significant challenges to Haile Selassie's rule was the Italian invasion of Ethiopia in October 1935. Despite having one of the largest armies in Africa at the time, the Ethiopian army was ill-prepared for the technologically advanced Italian forces. Within a few months, Italian troops had captured Addis Ababa, and Haile Selassie was forced to flee into exile in Britain. During his exile, Haile Selassie made passionate appeals to the League of Nations to intervene in Ethiopia, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. This failure of the international community left a deep scar on Haile Selassie and shaped his worldview. He came to believe that the only way for Black Africans to truly be free was to achieve this on their own. Following the end of World War II, Haile Selassie returned to Ethiopia in May 1941. He found a country that was exhausted from years of war and occupation. But Selassie was undeterred. He wasted no time in getting to work on rebuilding Ethiopia. He re-established his government, launched a campaign to eradicate Italian influence, and began the process of healing the wounds of war. Selassie's resilience and determination impressed many. He became a symbol of hope and resistance against colonialism. In the aftermath of the war, Haile Selassie played an active role in the international stage. He was a founding member of the Organization of African Unity, now known as the African Union, and served as its first chairman. Through this organization, Haile Selassie worked tirelessly to promote unity and cooperation among African nations. But his domestic challenges were far from over. In the 1960s and 70s, Ethiopia faced a series of crises, including a devastating drought and growing discontent among the various ethnic groups. Haile Selassie's response was to introduce land reforms aimed at addressing the grievances of the peasantry and promoting equality. These reforms proved to be deeply unpopular with the country's landlords and members of the old guard. Leading to a coup in 1975, Haile Selassie was deposed and murdered, bringing an end to his 54-year reign. Despite his untimely death, Haile Selassie's legacy lived on, particularly in Jamaica. There, his image was adopted by the Rastafarian movement as a symbol of Black liberation and Pan-Africanism. Many Rastafarians believe Haile Selassie to be the embodiment of the promised Black Messiah. In Ethiopia, Haile Selassie is remembered as a visionary leader who modernized the country and defended it against external aggression. His contributions to African politics are equally significant. As a pioneer of Pan-Africanism, Haile Selassie advocated for the unity and independence of Africa and inspired generations of leaders to fight for a better future for their continent. Haile Selassie's life and legacy offer a compelling case study in leadership, resilience, and the complexities of race and identity. He was a man who straddled two worlds, the traditional and the modern, the African and the European. In many ways, he was a product of his time, yet he remains a timeless symbol of hope and resistance. That brings us to the end of our video on the life and legacy of Emperor Haile Selassie. We hope you've enjoyed this journey through one of Africa's most iconic figures. If you want to know more about Ethiopia's rich history, stay tuned for more videos and make sure to subscribe to Tales of Ethiopia. Thank you for watching.